Greetings, patriots. Why are we allowing every aspect of our country to be dissected, slandered, misrepresented and discredited? Our history, our heritage, our culture, our entire political structure is all under attack. And sadly, many people within this country are actually facilitating this. Here we are 2 months after the election, if you can call it that, of this Marxist administration, who, despite the fact that 4 out of 5 people who were registered to vote did not want them, have proceeded to enforce some of the most draconian Marxist measures upon this country not seen for decades, if not more, if ever. We've had so many attacks on our history and what we've done as a country and what we owe to people for our past. But here's something that many of you may not be aware of. In 1833, Britain used 40% of its national budget to buy freedom for all slaves in the empire. Britain borrowed such a large sum of money for the Slavery Abolition Act that it wasn't paid off until 2015. This means that living British citizens helped pay for the ending of the slave trade with their taxes. If you have heard this on mainstream media within the last 5 to 10 years, please let me know, because I would be very surprised if you had. The way that you actually undermine a society is to chip at the foundations, bit by bit by bit. And once again, as I've said, people within this country have contributed to this. We all have different beliefs. Some people are evolutionists, some people are creationists, etc. And that's perfectly fine. That's how our country works. Even though, effectively, the moral foundations of our country are not founded on anything to do with the Big Bang Theory. They are founded on the moral compass of the creationist mindset. I won't use names for the different teams of creationists at this point because you know who's at the top. However, before I proceed, for those of you who are concerned for my liberty, I would like to take great pleasure in informing you that this video has the Sadama seal of approval, so have no worries about that. Now, let's start off with the evolutionists amongst you. You have every right to believe whatever you believe, and that's fine. But think about it. What role have you played with your ardent contempt for creationists over the years, that you were not satisfied in just believing what you wish to believe, but that you had to aggressively and toxically target any opinion based on a creationist point of view, that you have assisted the discrediting of our moral foundation. Something that has then been jumped upon by a different team of creationists. God, this is getting really difficult, isn't it? Trying to stay within the law. Good God. But anyway, I'm hoping that you're following me, because that's how it works. That's why different teams will actually go through whatever it is that we believe, and this is where we hear the endless stream of whataboutism, because they play on people's lack of knowledge. in their own beliefs, if you like, to try to discredit, to try to create doubt. And then with the assistance of those toxic people who are determined to discredit any creationist point of view, not to mention the insidious, treasonous element within our country who is more than happy to assist those who do not have any respect for our heritage, our culture, or our future, for that matter. And when you add these all together, you then get the erosions of the foundations of our very nation, and that is what is happening now. We are at the point now where it is perfectly acceptable, fair game to criticise, slander, even prohibit the public display of support for our team. I think that's right, yes. And yet, a different team is permitted to rub their flag and their team colours in our face constantly. Not to mention the fact, going back to the quote that I showed you, that there is this element of guilt shaming, white shaming, that is making people feel that they owe, feel that they need to apologise, to believe that they are in the wrong, and in fact, from a young age now, in certain establishment, you know, those places where you go to learn things, young, small adults are being told that if they are Indigenous British, I think that's permitted, that they're guilty, they're wrong, they owe. And if they are non-Indigenous British, that they are not wrong, they're the victim, they're in the right, they're entitled, and they are owed. That is the recipe for disaster, social, cultural, and political. And there's only one way that this will stop, and that is we need to first call out the traitors within this country before we look at the damage that those who are of a more predatory nature, let's say. We are in a culture, and you may have experienced this yourself, where we have a barbecue, and you know, when you have a barbecue, sometimes people who are not invited decide to turn up. They don't bring anything with them. They demand to be fed. And when they are fed, they effectively want to take over the barbecue, and they want us to pay for them to continue to enjoy barbecues at our expense. I'm not sure what you call those types of people. You may have your own particular names for them. I know that I do. Not that I would broadcast that in public in the current climate, because of course we can't say anything. But none of these offences come anywhere near to the heinous offence of smoking in a public place. Now, personally, as somebody who is an ex-smoker, struggled to stop several times. Every time I stop, I get fat, and then somehow I end up smoking again, and then when I stop, then I get even fatter. But I would never ever encourage anyone to smoke, of course. But this is not about smoking. It's about civil liberties. It's about freedom. And those of you who don't smoke, who support this, then I would urge you to think, how would you feel if the next step were that you're not allowed to eat meat in a public place? And for those of you smug, pasty looking anemic people, because you don't never eat meat, who are thinking, well, that doesn't affect me, then how will you react when the next step is something that will affect you, because this is creeping totalitarianism. It has nothing to do with cigarettes, nothing to do with smoking. Since the smoking ban in 2007, our society for the main part has changed. Many people have taken to drinking at home to save money because they couldn't smoke in a pub and they don't want to spend all night stood outside in the cold. But that has created its own social crisis, because people are drinking alone more, they are drinking more full stop, they are not socialising as much as they used to, and this is affecting the mental health of the nation. Alcohol abuse or dependence has increased exponentially since then. The incidence of mental health issues have increased exponentially since then. Many people feel the need for therapy for mental health issues, when the reality is that most people just need the natural human instinct, the natural human need of socialising, mixing with other people, having a banter, picking on each other and doing whatever they feel like doing. And we are being denied that, to the detriment of our entire society. Have no doubt that if people do not stand against this en masse and quickly, we will literally pass through a tipping point where we will probably reach a point of no return. I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. Thank you very much. Bye bye for now, and I'll see you next time.